Your brain is lying to you right now. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but constantly. And the most dangerous part is you don't even realize it. Because what you think is logic is often just a well-disguised illusion. According to Professor Eleanor Whitmore, the human mind is not designed to show you the truth. It is designed to protect you, simplify reality, and keep you comfortable. And that means it distorts things, it edits things, it even creates false beliefs that feel completely real. Today, you are about to discover 3 psychology facts that will change the way you see yourself and everyone around you. The first fact is this: your brain decides before you do. You believe you are making conscious choices. You think you analyze, evaluate, and then decide. But research shows something very different. Professor Eleanor Whitmore explains that your brain makes decisions seconds before you become aware of them. By the time you feel like you've made a choice, your mind has already completed the process. Your awareness is not leading the decision, it is just catching up to it. This means most of your actions are not as controlled as you think. They are influenced by patterns, habits, and subconscious processing happening in the background. And once you understand this, something shifts. You stop trusting every impulse. You start questioning your automatic reactions, because now you know they are not always yours. The second fact is even more unsettling. People do not remember you. They remember how you made them feel. You might think people notice your words, your explanations, your achievements, but in reality, emotional impact matters more than information. According to Professor Eleanor Whitmore, the brain prioritizes emotional memory over factual memory. This means people forget what you said, but they hold on to the feeling you created. This is why 2 people can hear the same words and remember completely different experiences, because emotion filters memory. If someone felt respected around you, they remember you positively. If they felt ignored or uncomfortable, that feeling stays, even if they can't explain why. And this has a powerful implication. Your presence matters more than your explanation. Your energy matters more than your words. And the way you make people feel shapes how they see you long after the moment is gone. The third fact changes how you understand confidence. Confidence is not about being right. It is about appearing certain. This might sound surprising, but human perception works in a very specific way. Professor Eleanor Whitmore explains that people are naturally drawn to certainty. When someone speaks with clarity and calmness, the brain interprets it as competence, even when that person is not entirely correct. On the other hand, hesitation creates doubt, even if the idea itself is strong. This is why 2 people can say the same thing and one is believed while the other is ignored. The difference is not intelligence, it's delivery. Certainty signals control, and control signals authority. This does not mean you should pretend to know everything. It means you should understand how your communication affects perception. Because people do not just evaluate what you say, they evaluate how you say it, and that shapes their response. Now take a moment and think about this. Your decisions are influenced before you are aware. Your impact is defined by emotion, not logic, and your confidence is judged by certainty, not accuracy. These are not just random facts, they are hidden patterns that shape your daily life. And once you start seeing them, you cannot unsee them, because awareness changes everything. And this is only the beginning. You are not thinking your thoughts. They are thinking you. Every reaction, every opinion, every sudden feeling that appears in your mind feels like it belongs to you. But what if most of it doesn't? What if your mind is not a source of truth, but a system of influence? According to Professor Eleanor Whitmore, the human brain is constantly absorbing patterns from the environment, storing them, and replaying them as if they are original thoughts. And this creates one of the biggest illusions you live with every day, the illusion of independence. Because many of your beliefs are not chosen, they are inherited from your surroundings, from your experiences, from repeated exposure. And once something is repeated enough times, your brain stops questioning it. It starts accepting it. This brings us to the fourth psychology fact. Repetition creates belief, not truth. Belief. You don't believe something because it is accurate. You believe it because you have heard it enough. Professor Eleanor Whitmore explains that the brain prioritizes familiarity over accuracy. The more often you encounter an idea, the more comfortable it feels, and comfort is mistaken for correctness. This is why people defend opinions they have never deeply analyzed. This is why misinformation spreads so easily. This is why your own limiting beliefs feel real, because your brain has been trained to accept repetition as evidence. And once a belief is formed, your mind begins to protect it, which leads to the fifth fact. Your brain filters reality to confirm what you already believe. This is known as confirmation bias, but its impact is far deeper than most people realize. According to Professor Eleanor Whitmore, once you hold a belief, your brain starts selecting information that supports it and ignoring anything that contradicts it. You don't see reality as it is. You see reality as it matches your internal narrative. If you believe people cannot be trusted, your mind will notice every small sign that confirms it. If you believe you are not good enough, your brain will highlight every failure and minimize every success. And over time, this selective attention strengthens the belief even more. It becomes a loop, a self-reinforcing system, and the more it repeats, the harder it becomes to break. This is why two people can live in the same world and experience completely different realities, because they are not just observing, they are filtering, and the filter is built from what they already believe. This is where awareness becomes critical, because if you are not aware of this process, you are controlled by it. You react without questioning, you judge without analyzing, you believe without verifying. But the moment you see it, the moment you recognize that your thoughts are influenced, your beliefs are shaped, and your perception is filtered, you gain distance. And distance creates clarity. Professor Eleanor Whitmore explains that true intelligence is not about having more thoughts. It is about observing them without immediately accepting them. It is about stepping back and asking, is this really true, or is this just familiar? Because once you start asking that question, something changes. You stop being controlled by repetition, you start challenging your own patterns, and you begin to see beyond the filters that once defined your reality. This is not easy, because your brain prefers comfort over truth. It prefers certainty over questioning, but growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in awareness. And awareness begins the moment you realize that not every thought deserves your trust, not every belief deserves your loyalty, and not every perception reflects reality. Because once you stop blindly accepting what your mind presents, you begin to take control of it. And that is where real power begins. You are being judged in seconds. Before you speak, before you explain, before you even realize it. And once that judgment is made, everything you do after is filtered through it. This is not opinion. This is how the human mind works. According to Professor Eleanor Whitmore, the brain forms rapid impressions within moments of seeing someone. These impressions are not detailed, logical evaluations. They are fast, emotional conclusions, and they stick. This brings us to the sixth psychology fact. First impressions are incredibly powerful and surprisingly difficult to change. When someone meets you, their brain quickly categorizes you: confident or uncertain, trustworthy or doubtful, important or irrelevant. And once that category is formed, your future actions are interpreted through that lens. If the first impression is strong, your mistakes are often overlooked. If it is weak, even your strengths are questioned. Professor Eleanor Whitmore explains that the brain prefers consistency. Once it creates an initial judgment, it looks for ways to confirm it rather than challenge it. This means changing someone's perception is not impossible, but it requires effort, consistent effort. Because you're not just presenting new information, you're trying to override an existing mental label, and the brain resists that. This is why the beginning of any interaction matters so much. Not because you need to impress everyone, but because perception sets direction, and direction shapes outcome. The seventh and final fact goes even deeper. People are more influenced by what you don't say than what you say. Silence is not empty, it is interpreted. According to Professor Eleanor Whitmore, when information is missing, the brain does not stay neutral. It fills the gap. It creates meaning. It assumes intention. And often, those assumptions carry more weight than actual words. This is why silence can feel powerful, or uncomfortable, or intimidating, depending on how it is used. If you speak constantly, you leave no space for interpretation. Everything is clear, exposed, and easy to evaluate. But when you are selective with your words, you create space. And in that space, people start thinking more. They analyze your behavior. They assign meaning to your silence. They become more attentive because now they are trying to understand you. And that effort increases your psychological presence. Professor Eleanor Whitmore explains that what is not said often holds more influence than what is said directly, because the brain engages more deeply when it has to fill in the gaps. This is why pauses create tension, why silence creates curiosity, why restraint creates impact. It is not about saying less randomly, it's about saying less intentionally, because intentional silence signals control, and control signals strength. Now bring everything together. Your brain makes decisions before you are aware. Your beliefs are shaped by repetition. Your perception filters reality. Your presence is judged instantly, and your silence speaks louder than your words. These are not separate ideas. They are connected patterns. They shape how you think, how you act, and how others respond to you. Most people go through life without ever noticing these patterns. They react automatically, they believe blindly, they speak without intention, and they wonder why their results never change. But now you see it. You see how the mind works beneath the surface. And once you see it, you have a choice. You can continue reacting the same way, or you can become aware of what is really happening, because awareness is the beginning of control. Not control over others, but control over yourself, and that changes everything. Because the moment you start observing your thoughts, your reactions, and your patterns, is the moment you stop being unconsciously driven by them and start consciously directing your life.